Today I fucked up by holding my breath and passing out during a lecture. This happened earlier today. So I was in class listening to a lecture and it dawned on me that I couldn't care less about what my professor was talking about. So I decided to start holding my breath. Now, this is something I normally do if I get really bored. I'll hold my breath for as long as I can and then I'll rest for 3 minutes. I'll do 5 sets of that. I also make sure to pinch my nose as to avoid cheating. I've actually gotten pretty good at it and can hold my breath for 2 minutes and 15 seconds now. Anyways, I start holding my breath and I'm feeling particularly good and I start thinking I can break my record today. I got to about 2 minutes and 20 seconds on my first attempt and then I decide to drop out. I can do better, let's go for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So I go and I'm feeling super confident about it. I get to 2 minutes 20 seconds and I'm feeling a little lightheaded. Get to 2 minutes and 30 seconds and I'm struggling. Like I'm thrashing around silently in my chair, but I'm going for gold. Get to 2 minutes 40 and I'm seriously hurting. Things are getting bad. I close my eyes to avoid looking at my watch. It also made the seconds go faster. All of a sudden I open my eyes and I'm looking up at the ceiling and everyone is flipping out. As I learned from the girl sitting next to me, it turns out my maximum effort resulted into me passing out, smashing my head on my desk, and falling out of my chair. I spent the next 10 minutes trying to explain to everyone that I was fine. Lecture finally resumed and I just sat there feeling like a dumbass with a gnarly headache. Lecture still sucked after that. Too long didn't read, tried going for Olympic gold in breath holding. Failed and ended up spread eagle in our lecture hall. Edit, a word. My bro did a very similar thing back in comprehensive school. Hyperventilated or something till he felt dizzy, then held his breath while straining. He blacked out, smashed his head on a table. Ended up in hospital and had to undergo lots of epilepsy tests cause he was afraid to tell the teachers he was being adult. If you passed out from lack of oxygen and hit your head, you aren't fine. In the words of Red Foreman, you're a dumbass. Missed opportunity to hit on the girl by telling her she's breathtakingly beau today. I fucked up. How the fuck are you in college? Deleted. You just know your poor professor went home to their so and was like, honey, I was so boring today in class I knocked a kid out cold. I think it's time to hang up my chalk. I hope you feel better. I taught college classes as a grad student. Even the top is okay, I promise you it was holy shit, honey. Guess what one of my dumbass students did today? Today I fucked up by quoting Thanos while arguing with my GF. Throwaway account for privacy. This happened yesterday and I don't know how to make it up. My girlfriend and I met at university 4 years ago, and we both graduated some time ago. Since then we've both been looking for work, but the research is more difficult than we thought, and until yesterday neither of us had managed to get a job. Yesterday my girlfriend received a positive answer to one of her applications, for a job located 430 kilometers from our hometown. She was very happy and that's how she told me to come to her house to tell me some good news about the research. So expecting some good news, I took a detour to buy her sushi because we both love it, and I arrived at her house early in the evening, and that's when she tells me that in 2 weeks she's going to go more than 400 kilometers from our city, and that I now have to look in the same area as her. I totally lost my mind when she told me that. I explained that I understand that the research is complicated, but that it was no reason to look at work across the country, and that I had no desire to leave my family and friends because my life is in my hometown. The situation then became very tense. She told me that I am selfish and that I have to learn to move away, that even if there is no urgency, it is important to find a job quickly so as not to remain inactive. I then offered her a long-distance relationship for a few months because I really don't want to leave, and she could come back as soon as she found a job in our city. And that, guys, she took it really hard. I've never seen her so upset in my life. She then gave me an ultimatum, either I follow her or we stop our relationship, and she asks me if I'm really ready to leave her to stay with my family and friends. Maybe some people can see it, but this is the moment I fucked up. I still don't know why my brain betrayed me like that, but the only answer I could find was, perhaps, maybe it is a small price to pay for salvation. I could have made long rants to show her that I love her, that I care about her. I could have found arguments so that we could solve the situation, as any person in a relationship for 4 years would do. But no, my fucking stupidity made me quote a purple guy. She looked at me with an empty look for several seconds. I realized how much I fucked up, but nothing came from my mouth. She just asks me to leave her house, and since yesterday she speak to me or answer my calls and messages. I sent her a very long message of apology, adding that I hope we will be able to resolve the situation, but still no answer. I am now staring my Thanos Funko Pop thinking how much this guy may have ruined part of my life. Edit, whoa, this blew up far more than I could imagine. I took time to read all your comments, and I spend a big part of my day speaking with my GF about the situation. So here's the situation. 1. She's mad that in such a situation my only answer was quoting a meme. 2. She thinks, and she's not the only one from what I read, that I'm still a child for wanting to stay in my city. To clarify some things, I'm living in a small country in Europe, that's why 400 kilometers is basically across the country. Then I admit it, I may not be ready to start my professional life. In my head I'm still a student who always wants to enjoy his life like it was, going out with friends, enjoying parties in the middle of the week, watching sports and taking care of my GF. For me, the best to start my work life was to find a job in my city to keep my bearings and my way of life, and to be able to gradually switch to something more serious. That's a big part of why I freaked out when she told me to come far away from everything that defines my life. Also yes, there was a big lack of communication in my relationship. She's the first to admit it and apologizes for it. Today we had a more serious discussion, no meme quotes guys, where both of us expressed their point of view. For my GF, this work is not her dream work, but she wants to take it because we can't find nothing here and she just wants to take it in order to gain experience, and then quit it to a better opportunity. She told me that it would only be a matter of months. I explained my feelings and what I wanted to start my life, and to my surprise she understood. We even reached an agreement. I will looking for a job in my city and in the city where she will work, and I will take the first opportunity. She also needs me to be with her the first month to help her settle in and not to stress about her new situation. Now that we've explained and reached a compromise, she's much calmer and ready to go on. So it seems my stupidity and the purple guy may have not ruined something. Oh, I saw some people were wondering, when I left her house yesterday, I didn't take back the sushi. Too long didn't read. GF finds a job far away from our city and I doesn't want to leave my life to live this far. She asks me if I'm really ready to leave her just to stay in my city, and my only answer was maybe it is a small price to pay for salvation. A career setback isn't a risk she's willing to take. Being unable to visit family isn't a risk you're willing to take. Doesn't seem like you guys prioritize each other more than those factors, and I do not mean this in a negative way at all. My condolences to you too, but it appears this was inevitable. Sounds like your breakup was inevitable. The hardest choices require the strongest wills. Perhaps she is not a good fit for you and it's time to snap her out of your life. Did you guys discuss jobs that far away before? To be honest, for such a long relationship, I would hope that she would have said to you, hey, so I applied for a job really far away, what happens if I get it? Maybe she wouldn't have applied for it in the first place if it would rip your relationship apart. That's what I don't get about this either. The idea that expanding a job search outside of home should be something that's discussed way before applications are filled. Also, having a max distance away from home that Op felt comfortable with. I am sorry this story is very sad and all, but the fact that you quotes Thanos in such a serious situation is one of funniest thing that I read in this subreddit. Today I fucked up by becoming an accidental active school shooter. This happened in the aughties. TL/Dr. below. My relatively small HS held an unexpected live active shooter drill. It was the first time they had ever done this. I don't know who developed this genius procedure. It actually makes no sense because of how they initiated it. We had once previously practiced what to do in this event maybe a week prior, kind of casually. The teachers were aware of the timing of this drill but didn't tell us because the trauma would help us react better. No idea. In fact, I remember our teacher, and likely all others, calling in at one point probably to check in that everybody was accounted for. However, it so happened that I was kicked out of class just prior to the announcement. My teacher was pretty flustered after minutes of me being a clown, and just yelled at me to get out, but he was super frantic about me getting to the office immediately. Now I understand why. His mistake, but I played my part soon after. On my way to the office, I was taking my time of course, the lights went out as though a main breaker were flipped, just the way they all went out immediately. Emergency exit lights came on, and the principal came over the intercom telling all teachers some code phrase which basically initiated the lockup/lights out/cower in the corner procedure. I was truly in a WTF state. Here's where I F up. Now I am the only dummy walking the hallways. Given the layout of this building, when I tell you it was dark, I mean you could hardly see your own hand dark, even with the small distant exit emergency light down the hall. And it was completely silent now. It all happened in a matter of seconds. I can't say I was scared necessarily because we all knew that there'd likely be a live drill at some point. Still, given my aversion to our principal since I was in trouble a lot, and not knowing what to do, I just ran following the wall with my hand back to my class and started banging on the door. I assumed my teacher knew what was happening and I didn't want to be in more trouble, so I just yelled, "Hey, let me in." The entire class of 20 kids in the dark instantly screamed at the top of their lungs, which then caused the adjacent classroom, who was also in complete darkness, no windows on this side of the building, to also start screaming and panicking. This coalescence of fear became so loud that nobody knew what the hell was happening, and the teachers were of course required to keep the doors shut no matter what, nor were they supposed to communicate with anyone outside their door till given an all clear, as far as I recall. Again, this was not a well thought out plan. Now of course, my teacher must have called the office, but the message wasn't relayed properly and I'll never know what he told them, because somebody came around the corner and in the loudest voice I had heard in my life said, "Get on the ground." There was a police officer visiting the school to oversee the drill. So whether he was taking the opportunity to do his part in acting or really thought I somehow picked the worst possible day to commit mass murder, I don't know. He did not have his gun drawn, just his flashlight. He grabbed me up and took me to the office. The rest was a huge blur, but essentially I was not punished for that, but I got extra shit for my classroom behavior given the context. There was an assembly held the same day where we were all apologized to for not running this drill knowingly first. Parents were pissed, it was a whole thing. TL/doctor became unaccounted for just as an active school shooter drill was initiated, ran around and scared the life out of roughly 50 people. Edit, spelling. When I was in school, the drills were always surprises. During the first week of classes, each teacher would run you through the plan for that specific classroom. Your school clearly needs the practice. Kids who screamed just gave away 2 classes. Yeah, seriously, at my school during drills that are announced beforehand, you have the problem of kids thinking they're really funny by making noises, giggling, screaming, etc. For real, if it was an actual situation instead of a drill, we would be dead thanks to these people. Man, I hate it when I accidentally become a school shooter. Man, I feel like that's more the school's fuck up than yours. Could have gone way more wrong, if someone had hurt you while trying to survive. I'd blame the teacher more than anything. He knew the drill was happening soon, he should have just let Op stay and sent him to the office after. Wow. And here I was thinking this was clickbait.